So how would you compare to Amazon? If you launched a product on Amazon, what would you expect for the first 90 days comparatively to a TikTok launch?
Amazon, that's a hard answer because you
I do.
probably have more data on this. But for me, I feel like the successful launches has definitely decreased on Amazon.
Welcome to another episode of the Selling on Amazon and most of the time TikTok podcast. I'm thinking about doing a name change. Right now it's Selling on Amazon podcast, but we talk about TikTok about 85% of the time. So maybe we should change it to Selling on TikTok podcast or Selling on every place we can other than Amazon, because Amazon is old news podcast. What do you guys think?
I think that that's a very interesting idea there. I think you just do something crazy, just something that just makes completely no sense. And so people just have to click on it just to see what we're talking about. Something like a tech company like Google or something. Just something, just random words put together, letters put together.
Like Alphabet?
Yeah, sure. Why not? Just something strange, something. Yeah. But you're right. You're right. We do talk about TikTok most of the time. So speaking of TikTok, what would be the latest update that we would like to share? So we have someone unique today who works on the TikTok team as well. He has his own team. And so I think that TikTok would be a good topic for today. I'll go ahead and share my first thing. One thing that I have noticed is that on TikTok, typically when you hit the $10,000 amount, I noticed that going from 10 to 30 tends to be within 30 days, and it can be exponential. And I believe that's because once you start to get traction and conversion, typically these videos are getting engagement, and the algorithm favors these videos, and they typically have a little bit of virality. I think that that's pretty common across all brands, and I think that that's pretty cool on TikTok, because you get that explosive 2015 Amazon growth, which is pretty cool.
So how would you compare to Amazon? If you launched a product on Amazon, what would you expect for the first 90 days comparatively to a TikTok launch? Because I know what you mean. I'm seeing it too.
Amazon, that's a hard answer because I'm sure, I mean, you do thousands of launches a year. I'm sure that you probably have more data on this, but for me, I feel like the successful launches has definitely decreased on Amazon. And I believe that on TikTok, I feel like it's a higher percentage. I would say that, what do you think? 50-50 on Amazon, 75-25 on TikTok?
On success rate, I think Amazon's success rate's lower than that for product launches.
So I'm a complete newbie coming to Amazon and Amazon launching. So I would like to hear what the crossovers are and what are the key differences, because
so the key differences on Amazon is that your only lever is PPC.
Yeah.
So you're basically a new listing fighting for traffic 99% of the time in an oversaturated market 99% of the time. You have less reviews, and reviews are everything. Social proof is everything. If you could launch with 10,000 reviews on day one, it would be a completely different story, but you don't. You launch with 10, 5, 12, 15, if you're lucky. Yeah. So what happens on Amazon is you basically, as your only lever being PPC, you're basically bidding on keywords with CPCs on the low end of $4 to $5, on the high end of up to $10.
Yep.
For example, hyaluronic acid, which is a serum which sells for $12 to $15 on Amazon, has CPCs of upwards of $8 a click.
Yeah.
So how in the heck are you going to basically have a product launch that's not burning red for basically at least 90 days on Amazon, due to the fact that your CPCs are the same CPCs as everybody else, but your conversion rate is inherently lower because you have no reviews? So Amazon's just a game of chicken. It's just how long can you go losing money to acquire traffic? I know that sounds kind of gloomy, but that's common.
I guess that's the beauty of TikTok. And I guess, I know that's not always our strategy. Well, it isn't our strategy. Our strategy is obviously to move fast and aggressively. We like to push hard with a cold start. But I think, technically speaking on TikTok, if you were a small brand and a small team, you can post for free, and, you can theoretically, cut through the competition at a very little cost, and that, at your own expense. And, the way to do that is, by creating the content yourself, or by finding the cost for literally an individual to create the content yourself. So no, it is interesting to know that on Amazon, that the only way to literally do it is just by, pumping the engine, pumping the clicks, and just hoping you can break through.
One thing I would add to the Amazon side, so it's It's been around for multiple decades, and the software has gotten incredibly sophisticated. People's knowledge and skill set has gotten incredibly sophisticated. So today, typically, in my opinion, what makes a brand successful isn't what they do on Amazon, but it's what they do off of Amazon. Like, what makes you different? Are you just competing with a cost per click, looking at your detail page, mine is better? In my opinion, those brands goes from, like I said, 50% probably down to 25%. If you're a Me Too product, much harder to succeed if you're not doing anything off of Amazon. Lots of brands that make it today, they either have an edge, they either have a huge following on some social media platform, they either have a big strength in SEO or public relations, or they typically have some sort of off of Amazon strategy that separates them from other brands. And I feel like TikTok has been that new strategy for a lot of brands. And I think that is working. What's your thoughts on that?
The key thing here is why TikTok is so successful versus Amazon is a marketplace. TikTok's really not a marketplace. It's a social network. So someone who is being advertised to in TikTok isn't sitting there already searching and looking at a variety of products, typically 40 to 50 products at a time that they're looking at. So your product is a standalone product at that moment in time. You are not being compared to Revlon, CeraVe. You're not being compared to Nutrafol. You basically are in your own lane at that moment in time with that consumer. So that is the key here, is that you can basically have a new product launch, be successful with only 10, 15 reviews, because you're not immediately being compared to products with 15, 20, 25,000 reviews. And that's why it's such an explosive platform.
100%.
Yeah. I think like they said in the webinar that we just had on Tuesday, which was an incredible webinar in my opinion, but essentially Amazon is the bottom of the funnel, and you need to leverage some sort of additional ecosystems, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, something to kind of become that top of funnel to drive that traffic, whatever your edge may be. And I feel like TikTok has the most explosive growth in my opinion. I've had 4 brands hit some virality in the last 30 days, some hitting 60,000, some hitting 50,000, and when we went from 10 to 50, it was a matter of weeks. And you could look at the 7-day, they could look at the 28-day GMV, it could say 20,000. And then you look at the 7-day and it says 15, which kind of tells you like, we've got some traction here. We're about to scale. And before you know it, we're going to be hitting 40, 50, 60,000 in a matter of weeks, which is pretty impressive, because on Amazon, like 10 to 20% growth is fantastic. So hitting those 100%, like that's where it's at. I'm very excited with TikTok, and I don't know how long it's going to last, but while it does last, I definitely want to milk it for all that it's worth.
Exactly. And I think a lot of that comes with some of the data. I've been diving into this software, Calo data. Yep. And if you just compare the markets, right? Like for example, right now in Calo data, it's showing, let me share my screen. The entire beauty and personal care market is only at $173 million a month on TikTok. The entire beauty and personal care. So that covers skincare, that covers makeup, that covers hair care, that covers electronic accessories. And in total, check this out, only 18,000 shops in that entire category, of which the average shop is only doing 9.3K per month. And then check this out, the top 10 are selling 16% of that.
Wow, that means that the piece of the pie is very spread out amongst all of the shops. That's impressive.
Yeah, and I think this is the biggest thing here that I want to call out, is that there's only 10 brands that are making 16% of the 173, and the other 18,617 brands are making only 84% of revenue, which tells me that yes, there's 18,000 shops, but how many shops are actually set up and actually producing and doing content and doing sales?
Go ahead and click on the category and let's take a look at these brands.
So these are the top brands in the beauty category. We have Medicube is number one.
Yeah, if you go below that, they'll has all the brands. Those are the best selling products. Yeah, right here. There we go.
Tarte Cosmetics, yeah.
But look, there's only a handful doing over $1 million a month. A handful.
And those aren't the names on Amazon that I even recognize either. Those aren't that's not the Instant Naturals, the large 7-8 figure brands on Amazon. I actually don't even recognize half of those.
Good point. Where's the CeraVe? Where's the Revlon? Where's the Clinique? Where are these brands? None of them are in the top
Yeah.
10. None of them. I've never heard of Medicube. I've never heard of Tarte.
We don't even
Cosmetics.
have the Amazon successful brands on here, not even including the Fortune 500 companies. Like we haven't even seen all of the massive 8-figure brands on Amazon. I think that they're all in the process of being onboarded. And right now we're probably looking at the biggest trend in e-commerce that I can remember. I mean, this is huge.
I wonder what Tarte Cosmetics is doing on Amazon, for example.
Oh, that's a good call out.
Yeah.
So Tarte Cosmetics on TikTok is 6 million a month. Okay, so if we do 6 million a month and we go to Tarte and we X-ray this, here we go, 11 million a month.
Wow.
Oh wait, let's take out L'Oreal. That's definitely skewing it. That's definitely skewing it. 9 million. Yeah, this is all Tarte.
Is there anything at the okay? Wow. I noticed that some of their listings are vendor central as well.
Yeah, but look at the sales trends. All of them are trending up. Look at that. Why do you think that is, guys? If we take the branded search, and I'm sure there's one product that's here it is. This is the main branded search. Tarte, might not be right. Tarte Cosmetics. Look at that.
Yeah, I honestly, the tacos for this brand is probably incredibly low, and they probably spend most of probably 80% of their marketing budget on TikTok, in my opinion.
Yeah, you're probably right. Their top seller is Big Stick Energy. Tarte Big Stick Energy, which is fun.
That's
I
fun.
like
It's
that.
such a TikTok product, isn't it?
That's very much a TikTok product. Let's see what the branded search looks like.
Yeah, these guys are obviously just marketing budget is just all in on TikTok.
Yeah, one thing from that webinar that I thought was interesting was he was talking about how he believes that the trend in marketing spend is going to shift from Amazon to TikTok, and less on Amazon and more on TikTok, just due to the CPM and the return.
So let's compare that. So what do you guys find are the CPMs that you're seeing with these accounts? I don't know what industry standard is. I mean, I guess I could chat GPT what are industry standard CPMs.
I mean, it kind of goes
Or
like naturally
private.
new platforms typically have a lower cost per click CPM just due to trying to get people onto the platform and things like that. Amazon being a juggernaut, a monopoly in the space, literally can increase prices every year, and they do because they have no competition. And that's why, just to put that plug out there, that's why capitalism is great. It's because it's a free market that makes it so that not one company can get ahead, and it kind of keeps prices low for the consumer. But in our case, at Amazon, there is no competition, so they keep increasing the prices. And TikTok is, in my opinion, lowering prices and trying to. They're happy with breaking even and maybe even losing money to just get more market share.
Yeah. Here you go. Check this out. Industry standard CPM, which is cost per 1,000 impressions for private label brands on different platforms. Google display ads is actually really low, by the way. So that's something to consider. Meta is between $8 and $18 CPM. TikTok is $4 to $10 CPM. So TikTok is half the price as Meta. And check this out. TikTok shop ads GMV max as low as $3 to $6 per CPM with strong creative. Eric, are you able to go into one of your accounts and let me know what their CPM is so we can compare?
I mean, it depends on the product, but it's similar to that range of the you see there. It's a little bit higher on the supplements. It depends. In the toys, a little bit lower. Beauty is right around 7. It really depends on it's on a brand by brand basis, depending upon the creative, of course.
Yeah, I'm in and around 7 as well. But I think
look at that top performing content.
Now, keep in mind, like as engagement and as things the creative improves, the cost would go down as well, proportionally. What does it say for the Amazon?
How much are Amazon CPM?
I know that most of the time they do it by cost per click, but I know that they do some by CPM.
Demand side platform is 8 to 15. Sponsored display ads is 5 to 10. Sponsored TV, which is garbage, is 20 to 30. And DSP is 565. Most people are doing sponsored products, which are not going to be, they're not based on CPM.
Just to give a feedback just on that sponsored TV ads, that was probably, in my experience, the beta that we did was probably one of the worst tests that I had ever did with Amazon. I know that it has a lot to learn and a long way to go, but man, the results were terrible.
All right, so here's what I'm adding. What are the cost per click on average?
That's a better comparison
on Amazon compared to TikTok Shop, because CPCs is what we look at. So Amazon CPC, high competitive niche. Look, just how I said, exactly the numbers I said, $5 to $10 per click.
Yeah.
Check this out. Look at these numbers, guys. Yeah, let's use the grid. Amazon ads average is 98 cents.
No, I don't believe that,
but okay. Yeah. Higher CPCs than competitive. TikTok is 25 cents to $1. Typical range is 17 cents to $4. That seems like a super wide range. Lower CPCs with effective targeting.
This looks
I
like
do
this looks like it's
believe.
biased, like it's got some Bezos money in that answer.
Yeah, exactly.
It's definitely accurate for TikTok though. You know, you can really get it down to 50 cent and below, and that's a clear indication of a well optimized ad account and creative.
Yeah, but the conversion rate's going to be lower too, right? Obviously, people who are clicking on an ad on TikTok are not initially intent to buy, right? They're sitting on their couch vegging out. They're not intending to buy a product at that moment in time for the most case. So Amazon's conversion rates are a lot higher. What are Amazon conversion rates?
One thing that I would just call out is that TikTok ads are more similar to Meta than they are to Amazon in the way that they are laid out. But honestly, the way that TikTok did it is like as soon as you see it, you're like, this is what Meta ads ad managers should have looked like. Being that they are the last platform that came out, they've had the opportunity to kind of learn from the previous platforms and make huge improvements. I think that their ad manager and their platform is better made than both Meta and Amazon, in my opinion.
All right, so here we go. I got conversion rates laid out in a grid format. Amazon conversion rates. What's
probably
that?
10 to 15% on Amazon.
That's probably what it is.
I guess there's the bottom of funnel argument then, right?
It's the bottom of funnel argument. Exactly. So we have 10 to 15% on Amazon because of buyer intent and Prime. TikTok is 0.46, lower intent, relying on UGC, impulse driven purchases. Exactly. Meta ads 1.5 to 3.5, strong retargeting performance. And then Google ads is 2 to 5% because of higher intent.
Yeah. One thing that I would mention is that you have to look at the buyer intent. And so like people on Amazon have a card in their hand and they are ready to buy something, whether they need it or it's an impulse purchase, they're buying something, right? Even if it's just to make a list or something, but like people kind of get impulsive about shopping. But when you're on TikTok, it's more of an information search. Same with Google, like it's information. Facebook, you could be on the toilet, like it doesn't necessarily mean you have your card in your hand. So it's very much not bottom of funnel. And so the conversion not being the same, it makes complete sense.
So what are cost per acquisition from TikTok ads versus Meta and Google?
That's a great question.
It looks like ChatGPT is having an aneurysm.
It's just want to see what kickbacks got given so that they can make it biased towards which platform.
Yeah, exactly. It's checking with the board. Here we go.
No way. That's not. I don't like that. I would say I got cost per acquisition as low as $4. That's $25 is obscene, and it's not scalable, and it wouldn't be a growing platform if that was the average.
Yeah, that's not true.
But if you compare it to Google, it's a lot cheaper. So we have $25 for TikTok. We got $18.68 to $19.68 for Meta. It has a lot more data on Meta, by the way. I want to point that out. Like the Meta platform has been running ads now for 15 years. In Google Ads, it has a lot more data. So I think $25 compared to $19 on Meta is a little bit outrageous.
Well, being a team lead, if I had $25 cost per acquisitions, I would be getting an email or a Slack message or something talking about needing to get that down. That's incredibly irresponsible on any platform.
So then what are we seeing, guys? What are the averages that we're seeing? Let's talk real numbers here on cost per acquisition, because that's all that anyone cares about at the end of the day is cost per acquisition.
Yeah.
I mean, towards a really good ballpark. Yeah, definitely a really good number to aim for. I'm seeing variances between 4 up to like 8, 10. And obviously number one goal is just to optimize that and get that number down.
Yeah, for me, I noticed that has a lot to do also with the price of the product. So if it is as we know, price is the biggest converting determining factor. And so I like a $9.99 product or a $12.99 product, being in the $4 to $5 range is very doable, and even less if you get some good creatives. If your product is like $20 to $30, I've noticed that it can be somewhere between usually $6, $7. That's what I'm seeing.
Let's look at this new screenshot. Let's talk about the ad spend. So these are the top performing videos right now on TikTok based on revenue. So we have $440,000 a month on this video going down from there. So this video is absolutely killing it. And then we got basically
this is organic videos. Those are just 2 videos that gone viral. You can see on the thumbnail where they have ads.
Somebody might want to spark code that one.
And then these videos here, these actually have ad metrics. So we have ad spend $143K only a 2 ROAS. Wow. So this product here, Go Pure Sculpt and Tone Arm Cream, is doing almost 300K a month, but they're spending 143K in ads to get there.
A lot of beauty brands have that big like 90% margin, and they can get away with that. Also, most likely the spillover and the virality, I imagine, is explosive on Amazon. That product's got to be exploding.
Yeah, I think.
Well, we're gonna find
this
out now.
product clearly has. I mean, this brand and this product, their intention was obviously just to cut through. You know, you're not going to break through into the health and beauty and personal care sector without, you know, seriously pumping something.
So their branded search is averaging on the low end 20K and on the high end 30 to 35K.
For branded search, that is really high.
A week.
That's really high.
A week. So what they're doing, like, I bet their sales here on this product. Here it is. I bet the sales here. Yeah, let's see. Let's see the TikTok effect here. 40,000 units in the last month.
Wow, that's a lot of units. That's impressive.
That's why they're pushing that 2 ROAS.
Yes.
So this is good education for us, because we all work in the skincare space too, that if we have a client begging us to be at 4, but they also are begging us to hit revenue targets, we need to have a hard conversation with them and show them this data and be like, well, let's look at a brand much bigger than yours. They're running at a 2 ROAS, but look at the effect that it's having on their Amazon.
Absolutely. And that survey that you did, what was the percentage of spillover to the website and Amazon on the survey you did?
62%. So that was the spillover from TikTok to Amazon.
Nice. That's incredible. So that's essentially is their cash cow. That's where they're that's what's paying all the bills. And TikTok essentially is the marketing arm of that endeavor.
Mm-hmm. This product hasn't even been around a year.
I mean, honestly, when
hasn't been around.
When you talk about product launches on Amazon, I hate to say it, but in my conversation when I'm having these, I am now including TikTok as part of the launch strategy, because I do think that it is important to get awareness of the product and get some traction in the sense of new to brand awareness of the product going before you do your Celico launch or whatever your strategy may be. And I'm making that kind of part of my standard, my SOP.
Well, it's okay. We're looking now at Yerba Magic, which is the top selling product. Yerba Magic is the top selling product on TikTok right now. Okay. So Yerba Magic, they're selling this one product, $500,000 a month. Let's see how it's selling on Amazon.
I like that hero image. I think it's got a good pop.
It's working.
But what I was saying before my internet cut out is saying that I'm now including TikTok in my launch strategy on Amazon. It's now becoming standard for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really like this brand. This branding, so, it's really cool.
So here's the product. They're selling this for $50 on Amazon. This is just launched on Amazon.
Wow,
by the way.
It's not.
I mean, and the reviews are not great. It's so early. I don't even have sales numbers. They just launched it. But look at the BSR. Look at the sales rank.
Wow.
So I can only imagine how many units they're selling a day. I don't have the data to show it, but
the BSR
is
a direct relationship to how well it's selling. And look at that product description. They didn't even, the listing is not even completely optimized.
Look, it's number one in fruit and herbal tea. They're beating like major brand. Look at that.
Boom.
And it just launched on Amazon, for crying out loud. Like, it's probably a couple weeks old. Can you click
into this product? Can we click on that product and then look at the creators that break down this? Because one thing that I think is very important is that you're building brand ambassadors. So sometimes it's broken up, but usually it's about 10 creators that make up about 90% of the revenue once you have everything set up very correctly with contracts and knowing who the correct creators are.
Yep, you're right. If you look at the numbers here in the last 30 days, these are the top 10 creators that are representing this. I think they're called Brainista, Yerba Magic. The bottom creator did almost 100K, and the top creator did $500,000.
Yeah. I guarantee that if you look at that person's page, that this it's probably nothing but this product or products from this brand. Like if you look at, they're making probably, if they were making 15% commission, just they would be making a significant income.
So J Health Hacks, he's got only 52,000 followers. Look at his sales last month.
Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah,
21 million views.
It's incredible. It's incredible. I mean,
Let's see how many videos he's posted.
Where do I
You
see
scroll
that?
down to
yeah, it
maybe
says,
better to it by product.
it says 27.
But this is the one that went viral.
And what happens when you get a viral video is that typically the same creator or other creators, they try to do spins of that, and they usually there will be 10 more ads within or creatives within the next few days of very similar content. Oh, the video's been removed or hidden? Okay, well.
Reposting this because it's already been taken down once, but listen to what she just said.
Dark side of lifting in Japan that no one ever
You've
talks
seen this
about. And
technique
trust me,
before.
it's not what you expect.
This
Japanese
content technique.
standards are super high. We'll do anything or take anything to stay within that any standard. There's one specific tea that all the girls would drink, where you think all of them were on the Mo shop. I ended up taking it, and I lost 5 pound sizes within the first 2 weeks of drinking it. And I moved back home. I actually brought it back for my sister to use just to find out it's all over TikTok shop in the States. Stuff tastes delicious. It's an
She
Instagram
basically
but it actually
claimed
still
in
tastes
her
like tea.
video
I'm
that
going
she
below
lost
trying to be the size
5
of a
pant sizes.
First, I didn't believe her, but then I called my sister.
You
She
couldn't
has a
even
listing
whisper
fitness
that on Amazon.
Wow. And what's crazy is he didn't even make the video. He just basically spliced in her video.
That is a seriously effective strategy, especially in the health and supplement space, because what you're doing, this guy's obviously done it with someone who has a story about it before and after. And, you know, this is like honing in back on the impulse decision making. Like, content is going to be so impulse driven in terms of it's in terms of when you're, seeing it on your phone. You know, you've really got to stimulate that impulse decision, and you know the way you do that is by educating people or showing people like just such amazing contrast before and afters. And yeah, as you said, this video like 5 minutes to make. So yeah, it really effective strategy, especially in this space. You know, I'd be interested to see if you do see a before and after photo snippet of her. I reckon, because you know, customers and people on TikTok, they're fickle, you know, they're going to see through, you know, whilst we, I think we've become very specialized and optimized in the content we're making and seeing, and we know where to double down on specific content. But at the same time, you know, the customers aren't stupid. And if they see something which is clearly AI generated or clearly not authentic, you know, that they're gonna just flick through in a matter of seconds. So
absolutely, and that video is definitely hard hitting.
Yeah,
that girl is extremely enthusiastic.
Yeah, one thing
it.
I would add on what Doug said, I totally agree with what you said about the before and afters. One thing that I would just want to point out is look at what they're doing and saying on TikTok compared to what you can say on Amazon. It is what you can get away with is huge. So saying somebody lost 5 pant sizes, if you said that on your Amazon listing, I wouldn't be surprised. I'd be surprised if your listing stayed up for an hour.
Well, he said, if you realize that video, he said got taken down and he reposted it.
And you know what?
He said that,
but that creates that kind of virality because people are like, oh, I don't want to miss out.
Yeah,
I think that's
like it's forbidden fruit.
I think that's a strategy.
Yeah, it's forbidden.
So, but it's interesting because like,
all right, guys, unfortunately I have an appointment. I just saw come up on my calendar. So this is a short pod, but I think if we take anything away from this short podcast is launch products on TikTok first, then on Amazon. That's the big takeaway here. Start on TikTok, get a little strategy, prime the pump, put a little oil in there, then launch on Amazon. Even if you have 3.7 stars and shitty reviews and 17 reviews, you can still be number 1 in your category. So that's the takeaway here.
For sure.
All right, guys. Awesome. Well, thanks for joining. Have a great weekend, gentlemen.
Absolutely.
Cheers, guys.
Like, subscribe, comment. Don't subscribe, don't comment. I don't really care. Either one. But if you like looking at Eric's beautiful face, then do all 3 of those.
Absolutely. And if there's anything that you would like, a question or comment that you would like to find out more information about, feel free to comment. I'd be happy to make a video about that topic. But again, if you do like the beard, the haircut, make sure you do all 3, the subscribe, the follow. Yeah.
Come on.
Let's get our numbers up.
And then I got to do a call out on something. We're going to be launching a monthly roundtable for anybody to join where we just talk TikTok for an hour, and we're going to actually invite brands. So that's starting in May. So that's going to be the TikTok roundtable. We are going to host it. We're not going to sell anything. It's not a pitch. It's just answering questions and helping people thrive on TikTok. So that's going to go live in May. Okay, guys. Doug, have a good run today over in London.